Good afternoon, Paul. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us at Jeppe Boats and Blades.
It certainly is a privilege to be here with you guys, Greg. I know we've been looking forward to this occasion for a while.
Excellent, excellent. So, Paul, straight into the questions then. Why rowing? What drew you to the sport in the first place?
It was an interesting one and certainly jogged up some good memories from the past. But Lamorna Canton in the, I think, late 80s and early 90s, she embarked on, these little campaigns in the primary schools in the area. And I'll never forget one of her presentations at the school library. I went to Leicester Road Primary School in Kensington, and she arrived with her son Craig, and I don't think Gareth was with her, but I just remember seeing she had these two massive guys that I looked up to, and I thought, man, I want to be like them. And she showed a couple of video clips, and that was me hooked. And she basically invited us out to the October rowing camp. That would have been 1990, October rowing camp. And unbeknown to the family, we actually had good friends in the Lemkeses. Garth Lemkes was actually a good friend of my dad's. And so he said, listen, can I bring the boys around? We've got a couple of questions around rowing. And we popped around to Garth's house, and I asked him a bunch of questions, and he pulled out photo albums, showed me his Springbok rowing blazer. And so I bought in hook, line, and sinker. And before I knew it, I was on the first rowing camp down in Orkney at the Vaal. And I think immediately surrounded by just such an incredible community of people. So that was kind of my entry into the sport.
Excellent. And you may or may not know, Garth is a great supporter of Jeppe Boats and Blades, and one of my personal heroes, to be quite honest, because I came in just after, I think my first year was his final year. So and just in terms of Jeppe and in terms of South African rowing, he's legendary. So
absolutely
good call speaking to him then.
And we didn't know any of this. I mean, he's such a modest guy, and so when we asked him about rowing, he just unpacked his story, and it just drew me in.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. So, Paul, how was your, the time that you had at Jeppe rowing? How did that impact the rest of your life?
I think I still experience the lessons learned in everyday life. And rowing has taught me so many valuable lessons. I think, and you can talk about this on multiple levels, of which I don't know if we actually have the time to, but in terms of character development, some strength of character in terms of tenacity, perseverance, especially through tough times. There's a grueling aspect to rowing training that I think only fellow oarsmen can fully identify with. A lot of people ask me, well, how would you liken the sport of rowing, or what would you liken the sport of rowing to? And I say, well, it's take your body weight and sprint for 2,000 meters, 2Ks at full tilt. And that requires courage, perseverance, tenacity, a host of character qualities that I feel like were built into me in those years at Jeppe, and so I think socially it also taught me just the value and power of community. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, we came into this thriving community, with energized parents and excited young boys, and we were all focused on a goal, and that was to make, the Jeppe Rowing Club great. And I think that showed me in later life what a united community can do, and what functioning in a team environment can do in any walk of life, whether it be business, whether it be social. I know we'll get to Jeppe Boats and Blades in a second, but we've seen the power of pulling together a unified and focused team behind a vision, what can be accomplished. And so those are some key lessons I learned from rowing, man. How to work in a team, how to have the humility to see where I'm wrong, and to be able to change and adapt to an environment as to what best suits the team and the other members around me. So it's been multiple. I mean, but those are probably the key ones that stand out for me, Greg.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you for that. And then coming on to Jeppe Boats and Blades. So, I mean, I know that you're familiar with the cause. I mean, just in terms of that, How do you think we could, I suppose, spread the news? Yes, but get more and more old Jeppe oarsmen involved and build that old boy community?
Mm. No, it's a great question, Greg. You know, I think I was putting quite a bit of thought to that. You know, what made the club great in our time? And look, I think context change, times change. I recognize that, but so I had a couple of thoughts. You know, take it or leave it. But I think, you know, having a champion in each year. You know, someone who's passionate about the cause. So, so I was Jeppe rowing captain 1996. Rode first states 95 and 96, and I pretty much took it on myself to say, listen, I want to rally my years 95, 96, and try and get the guys behind this initiative. So you know, I think you need a champion in each year who will be able to be in touch and on the ground communicating with his particular peer group, you know, wherever they might be in the world. You guys interviewed Brendan Borum, who's out in New Zealand. Brendan and I rode after school, you know, together, and have maintained that friendship for 25, 26 years. And so, so I think that's the first thing. I think we need a champion in each year. You know, it doesn't have to be the rowing captain from that particular year, but someone who can rally those peers together. I think secondly, and, you know, I watched Ben Bonan's interview that you made, and he made a great point. You know, the parents are critical. I remember just how much my folks bought into this whole concept and idea of rowing, you know, and I think what makes rowing different is it's not just hey, let me drop my kid off on the sideline and leave, you know, and go do some errands, or, you know, I remember our whole family culture shifted in the years that we were with Jeppe. You know, rowing was everything, you know. My dad had the privilege of being able to chair the rowing club for a couple of years, and you know, rallying the parents behind fundraising, and I mean, there were endless pub nights and dances and raffles, and they in turn used their network. So you had a core group of charged parents who were behind the vision, who didn't just see rowing as an extracurricular sport, but in fact a lifestyle that their kid had bought into, because the hours are grueling. Every weekend you give up to Rudy's, you know, you're out at Rudderplaat, or you're down at the Val. And I think that's a big shift in mindset, I think, for the parents to realize, you know, that you're buying into not just an extracurricular sport, but a culture and a community that's going to demand nearly everything for the next 5 years. And I don't know how to get them to count that cost, because I think a lot of parents might, you know, toss in the towel when realizing those commitments. But I think the end result, and every Jeppe parent will say the same thing, the end result after 5 years of time and investment and what they've put back into the sport is what they get out. And so I do think the parents are your number one advocates. And their networks.
It definitely is an investment. I'd like to just you know, zoom in on that, or zone in on that, because it is certainly an investment, and it pays dividends for the rest of their child's life, basically. So absolutely. So, Paul, in the time that we've got left, from your time as a Jeppe oarsman and potentially beyond that, can you tell us one significant memory that you recall with great fondness?
Now, this was a difficult one. I mean, how do you condense such incredible times down to? And I looked at the wording in this question. One significant memory. I was like, sure, you know. I mean, there were, you know, the tough runs in the early morning up Juno Ridge, to the initiation ceremonies on December camp, which I don't even know if it's taboo to talk about nowadays, but those are certainly good times in our era. You know, to, you know, I think there were so many life-changing and life-shaping moments. But I think where it all culminated for me is irrespective of whichever crew I was in, and only an oarsman will be able to identify with what I'm about to describe here. But it's like everything comes together for that perfect stroke, for those perfect 2 or 3 strokes, you know. And you know, I had the privilege to be coached by Ben Bonan. Ben coached me right from under 13 right through to, you know, first eights. And we had a number of those moments where we'd either be on the Vaal or at Rudy's. It was sun up or sundown. The water was beautifully still. And all that hard work of getting the boats out there, getting up first thing in the morning, the runs up Juno, the gym, it culminates in that perfect stroke where either, if you're in an 8, and that's where you probably feel it, the most exhilarating experience is all 8 of you are pulling as one, and you're getting beautiful run under the boat. There's the bubbles, and it's like it's almost a sublime experience. And I think for me, those are my most significant memories that were often found in silence.
Yeah.
No one was saying anything.
Yeah, shared in silence. Yeah, yeah.
The shared silence of working together. I get goosebumps just thinking about it now. Watching the run off the boat, and just that sense of accomplishment, that everything, all the pain, the hardship, the challenges you faced is culminating in this almost sublime moment, you know, where, and they don't come around often enough. That's why I thought that's significant enough to mention, because it only happens a few times in your own career. So.
Oh, yeah, Paul. Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing. We sincerely appreciate that.
No, it's certainly been a privilege, and thank you guys so much for all that you're doing. I think you guys have initiated something beautiful here. You've achieved the unimaginable. I mean, a brand new 8, and all kudos to every single one of you. Thank you so much for your hearts for Jeppe rowing, and just really appreciate and respect you guys a ton.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for everybody who's contributed as well. You know, it's been a collective, so that's really important. It's the Jeppe community coming together once again to make something possible. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Paul, thank you for your time, and for everybody else out there, please do feel free to go look at our website. So that's jeppeboatsandblades.co.za, and until next time, keep pulling together for gold. Thank you very much.